Your finger rests on the trigger. The world has narrowed to this: crosshairs, breath, heartbeat. 847 yards between you and the target. Wind at 6 miles per hour, quartering from the left. The numbers run through your head like a prayer you no longer believe in. Senator James Reeves stands in the center of the compound courtyard, surrounded by 4 armed men. His hands are bound. His face is bruised. He looks directly at the building where you're positioned, as if he knows you're there, as if he's waiting for you to save him. Your spotter's voice crackles through the comm. Steady, confident, the voice of a man who has never doubted you. Send it. 2 words. That's all it takes. 2 words and you can end this. Save the senator, complete the mission, go home with your reputation intact and your conscience clear. Your finger tightens. The trigger has perhaps 3 pounds of pressure left before it breaks. You've done this 1,000 times. You are one of the best rifle shooters the Army has ever produced. This shot is well within your capability. This shot is simple. Send it. But something is wrong. You can feel it in the air, in the way the heat shimmers off the compound walls, in the way the senator's captors are standing too still, too calm, as if they're waiting for something. Your training tells you to trust the numbers. Your instinct tells you to wait. You don't take the shot. 3 seconds later, the building where the senator stands erupts in a column of fire and smoke. The explosion tears through the courtyard with a sound that will live in your nightmares for the rest of your life. Senator Reeves disappears into the blast. The 4 armed men disappear. The entire west wall of the compound collapses inward like a mouth closing. And behind you, in the spotter's position, the secondary explosion finds the room where your team has set up. You hear it before you feel it. A roar that shakes the floor beneath you. Then heat. Then darkness. When you wake up, 4 Marines are dead. Your spotter is dead. Senator Reeves is dead. And you are alive, standing in front of a review board, trying to explain why you refused to take the shot. Why you hesitated when hesitation cost lives. Why you are still breathing when better soldiers are not. The general conducting the inquiry leans forward. His name is Raymond Bishop. You will remember his face for a very long time. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, the general says, his voice cold and precise. In your professional opinion, could you have taken that shot? Yes, sir. And you chose not to? Yes, sir. Why? You open your mouth, you try to find the words, but there are no words that will make him understand. No words that will bring back the dead, no words that will change what happened or what comes next. General Bishop closes the file in front of him. The sound is final. Staff Sergeant Rachel Sullivan, he says, you are hereby relieved of duty pending further investigation. This board finds your conduct on the night of October 14th to constitute cowardice under fire. You are stripped of your security clearance and remanded to administrative hold. Dismissed. You stand. You salute. You walk out of that room and into 9 months of silence. That was the shot that broke you. 9 months later, you are still broken. The cabin sits at the edge of the Medicine Bow National Forest in southern Wyoming, 30 miles from the nearest town and a lifetime away from everything you used to be. You bought it with the last of your savings after the Army decided they didn't need you anymore. After the investigation concluded that you were not fit for service. After the newspapers ran the story with your face on the front page and the headline that called you a coward. The cabin has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchen that barely functions, and a rifle range in the backyard that stretches 300 yards into the tree line. You spend your days there, shooting, always shooting. Trying to find the thing you lost in Pakistan. Trying to prove to yourself that you can still do this. The morning is cold. November in Wyoming feels like the end of the world. You load the rifle, a Remington 700 that you've had since you were 22, and walk out to the range. The targets are set at intervals, 100 yards, 200, 300. You start close and work your way back. The first shot is perfect. Center mass. The rifle kicks against your shoulder with a familiar comfort, and for a moment you remember what it felt like to be good at something. The second shot is perfect. The third shot is perfect. You move to the 200-yard line. 3 more shots, 3 more perfect impacts. Your breathing is steady. Your hands are steady. The mountain air is sharp in your lungs, and you feel something close to peace. Then you move to the 300-yard line and swap the paper target for a different one. This target is shaped like a man, a human silhouette, the kind of target you used to shoot without thinking, the kind of target that used to mean nothing more than a score on a qualification range. You settle into position, cheek to stock, eye to scope, the crosshairs find center mass, your finger moves to the trigger, and then you freeze. It happens every time. The moment the target becomes human, the moment it stops being paper and starts being a person, something inside you locks up. Your hands begin to shake, your breath comes short and fast. The crosshairs drift away from the target, wandering across the landscape like they're searching for something that isn't there. You lower the rifle, you close your eyes. You count to 10 and try again. Same result. You've been doing this for 9 months. Every day, the same routine. Every day, the same failure. You can hit anything that doesn't look like a person. Bullseyes, dots, squares, animals if you had to, though you don't anymore. But the moment the target becomes human, you are useless. The army had a term for this. They called it the yips, a psychological block that prevents a shooter from performing under pressure. It's the same thing that happens to baseball pitchers who suddenly can't throw strikes, or golfers who can't make a 3-foot putt. The mechanics are still there. The skill is still there. But the mind won't let the body do what it knows how to do. You used to think the yips were a myth, something weak people told themselves to explain why they failed. You don't think that anymore. You walk back to the cabin and set the rifle in the corner. There's a bottle of whiskey on the counter, half empty. You consider it. Decide against it. It's only 10 in the morning, and you've been trying to keep some version of discipline in your life, even if everything else has fallen apart. The radio on the windowsill is playing classic rock, old songs from the 70s that your father used to listen to. You leave it on because the silence in the cabin is worse than the noise. The silence lets you think, and thinking is dangerous. You make coffee. You sit at the small wooden table and look out the window at the mountains. The view is beautiful. You should appreciate it more. You should feel grateful to be alive, to have this place, to have escaped Pakistan with nothing more than some scars and a dishonorable discharge. But all you feel is empty. The knock on the door comes just after noon. You're not expecting anyone. No one knows you're here except the landlord, and he's not due for another 2 weeks. You move to the window and look out. A black SUV is parked in the dirt driveway, government plates. 2 men in suits stand on your porch. Your first thought is that they've come to arrest you, that some new evidence has surfaced from the Pakistan investigation, some angle they didn't cover in the original inquiry. Your second thought is that you don't care. Let them arrest you, let them finish what General Bishop started. You open the door. The man in front is in his mid-50s, silver-haired with the kind of face that has seen too much and decided to stop showing it. He's wearing an expensive suit that doesn't quite hide the fact that he's carrying a weapon. The man behind him is younger, harder, the kind of operator who doesn't bother with pretense. The older man extends a hand. Staff Sergeant Sullivan. My name is Marcus Cole, Deputy Director, Central Intelligence Agency. May I come in? You don't shake his hand. You step aside and let them enter. Cole walks into your cabin like he owns it, his eyes taking in everything, with the practiced assessment of a man who has spent his career evaluating threats. He sees the rifle in the corner, the empty whiskey bottle, the sparse furniture, the life you've built from the wreckage. You've been busy, he says. You close the door. What do you want? I want to offer you a job. I don't work for the government anymore. I'm aware. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a folder, sets it on the table. I'm also aware that you've spent the last 9 months trying to prove you're not a coward. Shooting targets, running drills, trying to fix whatever broke in Pakistan. You feel a flash of anger. You don't know anything about what happened in Pakistan. Cole opens the folder. Inside is a photograph. You recognize it immediately. The compound, the courtyard, the moment before the explosion. Senator Reeves, standing with his hands bound, looking directly at the camera. I know everything about Pakistan, Cole says quietly. I know that you were given bad intelligence. I know that the building was rigged to blow the moment you took your shot. I know that General Bishop ordered you to stand down 30 seconds before you refused to fire. And I know that he conveniently left that detail out of his report. You stare at the photograph. Your hands are shaking again. Why would he do that? Cole closes the folder. Because Bishop needed a scapegoat for his own failure. The Pakistan operation was his plan, his intel, his disaster. When it went sideways, he needed someone to blame. You were convenient. You sit down at the table. Your legs won't hold you anymore. If you knew this, you say slowly, "Why didn't you come forward? Why didn't you testify at the inquiry?" "Because I needed Bishop focused on you," Cole says. "Not on me. You were the distraction while I finished building a case against him for corruption, embezzlement, misuse of classified funds. The works." He pauses. Bishop is currently under federal investigation. He doesn't know it yet, but he will. You look up at him. "So you used me?" "Yes." "And now you want something?" "Yes." You stand, walk to the window, look out at the mountains and try to process what he's telling you. 9 months of shame, 9 months of isolation, 9 months of thinking you were the one who failed. "What's the job?" you ask. Cole opens the folder again, pulls out another photograph. This one shows a compound in a desert landscape. High walls, guard towers, razor wire. 3 days ago, Cole says, a retired Army general named Raymond Bishop was abducted from his home in Virginia. His security detail was killed. There was no ransom demand, no communication from the kidnappers. As far as the official record is concerned, General Bishop has disappeared. You turn from the window. "Bishop." "The same," Cole confirms. "We have intelligence that places him at this compound in southern Utah. A domestic militia group called the Covenant. They're well-armed, well-funded, and very, very dangerous. We believe they're holding Bishop as leverage." "Leverage for what?" Cole's expression doesn't change. "That's classified. What I can tell you is that we need him extracted. Alive, quietly, no casualties, no noise, just a clean infiltration and exfiltration. And you want me to do it?" "I want you to provide overwatch," Cole says. "You'll be positioned approximately 900 yards from the compound with a suppressed rifle and tranquilizer rounds. Your job is to incapacitate 6 guards at specific intervals to create a 14-minute window for our infiltration team. No kills, just temporary incapacitation. Can you do that?" You look at the photograph. At the compound, at the mission that sounds too simple to be real. "Why tranquilizer rounds?" you ask. "Why not just kill them?" "Because," Cole says carefully, "we need this operation to look like it never happened. Dead bodies create investigations, witnesses, problems. If the guards wake up 12 hours later with no memory of what happened and no sign of forced entry, the Covenant writes it off as a medical incident and moves on. You sit back down. You're trying to find the angle, the part of this that doesn't make sense. And you came to me because you're the best rifle shooter I've ever seen," Cole says simply. "Because you can make these shots. Because you need redemption, and I'm offering it. And because if this operation succeeds, I will personally ensure that your service record is corrected, your rank is restored, and General Bishop answers for what he did to you in Pakistan." You look at him for a long time. "What if I say no?" "Then you stay here," Cole says, "in this cabin. Shooting targets you can't hit and drinking whiskey you can't afford. And Bishop gets away with destroying your career. Your choice." The silence stretches. Outside, the wind moves through the pine trees with a sound like distant voices. "When do we leave?" you ask. Cole allows himself a small smile. 6 hours. He pulls out a phone and sets it on the table. "This is encrypted. Memorize the contact list and destroy it. You'll meet the team at a staging area outside Moab. Briefing is tonight at 2200 hours. He moves toward the door, then stops, turns back. "Staff Sergeant Sullivan," he says, "I know what happened in Pakistan. I know you followed orders. I know you made the right call. But the question you need to ask yourself is whether you still have what it takes to pull the trigger when it matters." You don't answer. He doesn't wait for one. The door closes. The SUV drives away. And you are alone again with the photograph of the compound and the phone that will change everything. You pick up the rifle, walk back out to the range, set up the human silhouette target at 300 yards. Settle into position. Breathe. Aim. Your hands are shaking. You lower the rifle, close your eyes, and for the first time in 9 months, you let yourself remember what really happened in Pakistan. It wasn't the explosion that broke you. It wasn't the review board or General Bishop's testimony or the newspapers calling you a coward. It was what happened 3 years before Pakistan. On a different operation, in a different desert, with a different spotter who gave you the wrong coordinates and died because you trusted him. His name was Thomas Graves. Everyone called him Tom. He was 24 years old, a corporal with a gift for reading wind and distance, and he was the best spotter you ever worked with. You trusted him completely. You trusted him the way you trust gravity, the way you trust the sun to rise. On a mission in Syria, Tom called out coordinates for a high-value target, a suspected bomb maker moving through a crowded market. You had the shot, 800 yards, clear line of sight. Tom's numbers were perfect, like they always were. You fired. The round hit exactly where Tom said it would, exactly where you aimed. And when the smoke cleared, the person you'd killed wasn't the bomb maker. It was a 14-year-old boy carrying a backpack full of schoolbooks. Tom had read the map wrong. Transposed 2 digits in the grid coordinate. A simple mistake. The kind of mistake that happens in the field, in the chaos of combat, when everyone is tired and scared and trying not to die. But the boy was still dead. Tom tried to take the blame. He went to the commanding officer and confessed everything. Said it was his fault, his error, his responsibility. But you were the one who pulled the trigger. You were the one whose name went on the report. You were the one who had to live with it. 2 weeks later, Tom was killed by an IED on a convoy run. You weren't there when it happened. You were back at base, suspended pending investigation into the shooting. They told you it was quick. They told you he didn't suffer. They didn't tell you that his last words, radioed back to base in the seconds before he died, were your name. Sullivan. Wrong grid. Tell Sullivan wrong grid. He was still trying to apologize, still trying to take responsibility for a mistake that cost a child's life. And he died doing it. After that, something inside you changed. You could still shoot. You could still hit targets, but every time you looked through a scope at a human being, you saw that boy in the market. You saw Tom's face in the moment he realized what he'd done. You saw all the ways that precision and skill and training couldn't protect you from making the one mistake that mattered. So when General Bishop told you to stand down in Pakistan, when he said the intel was bad and the shot was compromised, you listened. You followed orders. You didn't fire, and Senator Reeves died anyway. And Tom was still dead, and you were still the one left standing, trying to figure out how to live with it. You open your eyes, the target is still there, the human silhouette, waiting. You raise the rifle, settle your breathing, put the crosshairs center mass, your finger moves to the trigger. Tom's voice echoes in your head, send it. You fire, the shot goes wide, misses by 3 feet. You work the bolt. Chamber another round, fire again. Wide, again. Wide. You empty the magazine into the hillside, and every shot misses. When the rifle clicks empty, you set it down and walk back to the cabin. Your hands are shaking so badly, you can barely hold the door handle. Inside, you sit at the table. Pick up Cole's phone, stare at it. You should call him, tell him you can't do this, tell him to find someone else, someone who isn't broken, someone who can still take the shot when it matters. But you don't call. Because Cole is right, this is redemption. This is the chance to prove that you're not what Bishop said you were. Not a coward, not a failure, just a soldier who made the right call at the wrong time and paid for it. You pick up the phone, open the contact list, memorize the 3 names, Chen, Ross, Diaz. Then you destroy the phone, exactly as instructed. 6 hours later, you're on the road to Utah. The staging area is an abandoned ranch 40 miles outside Moab. The kind of place that looks like it died 50 years ago and nobody bothered to bury it. There are 3 vehicles parked in the dirt lot. Cole's black SUV, a military transport truck, and a civilian van with darkened windows. You park your truck next to them and get out. The desert night is cold and clear, the stars so bright they hurt to look at. You can smell sage and dust and something else, something that reminds you of every operation you've ever run. The smell of adrenaline and fear and the moment before everything goes wrong. Cole is waiting by the ranch house. Next to him are three people you assume are the team. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, Cole says, "Welcome, let me introduce you to the people who will be keeping you alive for the next 48 hours. He gestures to the first person, a man in his late 20s with the compact, efficient build of someone who has spent years learning how to move through hostile territory without being seen. This is Lieutenant Derek Chen, infiltration specialist. He'll be leading the ground team into the compound." Chen extends a hand. You shake it. His grip is firm but not aggressive. His eyes are intelligent and cautious. "Heard good things about you," he says. You nod. "Don't believe them." Chen almost smiles. Cole moves to the next person, a woman in her mid-30s with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun and the kind of face that has seen too much trauma to be surprised by anything. Dr. Miranda Ross, combat medic. She'll be responsible for stabilizing the target once we extract him. Ross doesn't offer a handshake, just a brief nod. Her eyes assess you like you're a patient she's already diagnosing. The third person is younger, maybe 26, with the restless energy of someone who works with technology and doesn't sleep enough. Specialist Carter Diaz, Cole says, drone operator and communications. He'll be your eyes in the sky and your voice on the ground. Diaz grins. "Nice to meet you, Staff Sergeant. Heard you're supposed to be some kind of magic with a rifle." "We'll see," you say. Cole checks his watch. "We have 2 hours before we need to be in position. Let's run through the mission profile." He leads you into the ranch house. Inside, there's a table covered with maps, satellite images, and equipment. The walls are covered with photographs of the compound, guard rotations, structural details. Cole points to the main satellite image. This is the target location, a compound operated by a domestic militia group called the Covenant. They're well-armed, well-trained, and paranoid. Security is tight. 24-hour guard rotations, motion sensors, cameras, the works. He traces a route on the map. Our infiltration team will approach from the east, using this ravine for cover. But they can't get close without triggering alarms unless the guards in these 6 positions are neutralized. He taps 6 points on the image. Guard towers 1 and 2, roving patrol here, stationary guard at the north gate. 2 more inside the compound perimeter. Your job, Cole says, looking at you, is to take out all 6 guards in sequence. 14 minutes. That's how long it takes for the shift change. You put them down with tranquilizer rounds. Our team goes in, extracts the target, and we're gone before anyone knows we were there. 14 minutes, you repeat. 14 minutes, Cole confirms. Think you can do it? You look at the map, calculate the distances, the angles, the timing. It's tight, but it's doable. If your hands don't shake. If you can take the shot when it matters. What's the range, you ask? 900 yards from your position to the nearest target, 1,200 to the farthest. You nod slowly. I'll need to see the rifle. Diaz moves to a case on the floor and opens it. Inside is a beautiful piece of equipment, a Macmillan TAC-50 with a suppressor, variable scope, and a stock that has been customized for long-range precision. Tranquilizer rounds, Diaz says, holding up a box of ammunition. Fast-acting sedative. Subjects go down in 10 to 15 seconds. Out for approximately 12 hours. No permanent damage. You pick up the rifle, feel the weight, the balance. It's a good weapon, better than good. I'll need to zero it, you say. There's a range set up behind the barn, Chen says. 300 yards, not ideal, but it's what we have. You carry the rifle outside. The team follows. You can feel their eyes on you, assessing, judging, wondering if Cole made the right call bringing you in. The range is basic. Just a berm and some targets. You set up at the 300-yard line and load the rifle. The tranquilizer rounds feel different from standard ammunition. Lighter, less stable in flight. You settle into position. Breathe. Aim at the center target. Your hands are steady. You fire. The round hits 2 inches left of center. You adjust. Fire again. Center mass. Fire again. Center mass. Fire again. Center mass. You run through 10 rounds and every one of them is perfect. Behind you, someone whistles softly. She's good, Diaz murmurs. You lower the rifle, turn to face Cole. The weapon is zeroed, you say. When do we move out? Cole checks his watch. 1 hour. Get some rest. You're going to need it. But you don't rest. You can't. Instead, you walk to the edge of the ranch property and look out at the desert. The moon is rising, painting the landscape in shades of silver and shadow. It's beautiful. It's the kind of night that makes you remember why you joined the army in the first place. The clarity, the purpose, the sense that you were part of something bigger than yourself. You hear footsteps behind you, turn to see Ross approaching. "Mind if I join you?" she asks. You shrug. Ross stands next to you, looking out at the desert. For a moment, neither of you speaks. "Cole told us what happened in Pakistan," she says finally. "Did he?" "He said Bishop threw you under the bus, said you followed orders and got blamed for it. You don't respond. He also said you haven't been able to take a shot since," Ross continues. "That you freeze up when the target is human." You turn to look at her. Her expression is neutral, not judgmental, just observant. "Is that going to be a problem?" you ask. "I don't know," Ross says. "Is it?" You look back at the desert. "I guess we'll find out." Ross nods. "For what it's worth, I've seen a lot of soldiers come back from deployments with issues. PTSD, moral injury, survivor's guilt. The labels change, but the pain is the same. You're not the first person to struggle with this. You won't be the last." "That's supposed to make me feel better?" "No," Ross says. "It's supposed to remind you that you're human, and humans break, but they also heal. Sometimes." She walks away, leaving you alone with the desert and the moon and the weight of what's coming. 1 hour later, you're in position. The ridge overlooks the compound from 900 yards. You've set up behind a cluster of rocks that provides cover and a clear line of sight to all 6 target positions. The TAC-50 is mounted on a bipod, the scope dialed in, the tranquilizer rounds loaded. Cole's voice crackles through your earpiece. "Overwatch, this is Command. Radio check. Command, this is Overwatch. I read you 5 by 5. Copy. Stand by for mission start. Infiltration team is moving into position now." You watch through the scope. The compound is exactly as the satellite images showed. High walls, guard towers, razor wire, 6 guards visible, exactly where Cole said they would be. Guard 1 is in the north tower. Young, maybe 25, he's smoking a cigarette and looking bored. Guard 2 is in the south tower, older, more alert. He's scanning the perimeter with binoculars. Guard 3 is the roving patrol, walking the fence line with an AR-15 slung over his shoulder. Guard 4 is at the north gate, stationary, checking his phone. Guards 5 and 6 are inside the compound, harder to see, but you can track them by the shadows they cast. This is it. The moment you've been training for. The moment you've been dreading. Overwatch, Command. We are in position, awaiting your green light. You take a breath, steady your hands, put Guard 1 in your crosshairs. He's just a kid. He doesn't know what's about to happen. He doesn't know that in 10 seconds his life is going to change. That he's going to wake up 12 hours from now with no memory of this night and a headache that will last for days. Your finger moves to the trigger. Tom's voice whispers in your head, "Send it." You hesitate. "Overwatch, what's your status?" You can feel it starting. The shake in your hands, the tightness in your chest, the memory of the boy in the Syrian market, the moment before you pulled the trigger and ended his life. Guard 1 turns, looks in your direction. For a second it feels like he's looking directly at you, like he knows you're there, like he's waiting for you to make your choice. Overwatch, we need that green light. Team is exposed, you close your eyes, count to 3, open them again. The crosshairs find Guard 1's shoulder. Not center mass, not a kill shot, just a clean hit that will put him down without permanent damage. You fire. The suppressed rifle makes a sound like a cough. The round crosses 900 yards in less than a second, hits Guard 1 exactly where you aimed. He drops. Guard down, you report. 1 down, copy. Continue. You work the bolt, chamber the next round, move to Guard 2. He heard something. He's turning, raising his binoculars, looking toward the north tower. You have maybe 4 seconds before he radios for help. You fire. Guard 2 drops. 2 down. You're moving now. Target to target. Guard 3, Guard 4. The mechanics taking over. The training, the muscle memory. Every shot perfect. Every shot exactly where it needs to be. 4 down, 5 down. You shift to Guard 6. The last target. He's inside the compound, moving toward the building where the infiltration team needs to go. You can see him through a window, pacing, talking on a radio. You line up the shot, breathe, squeeze. The round hits the window frame, shatters glass, guard 6 ducks, drops his radio, looks around, confused, trying to figure out where the shot came from. Overwatch, what happened? I missed, you say. The words taste like ash. Take the shot. Guard 6 is moving now, running toward an alarm panel on the wall. You chamber another round. Aim, fire, miss. He's 3 feet from the alarm. Overwatch, you fire again. This time, the round finds him. He drops mid-stride, unconscious before he hits the floor. 6 down, you report. All targets neutralized. Copy. Team is moving in. You watch through the scope as Chen and Ross move toward the compound. They're fast, professional. Within 2 minutes they're inside. Your part is done. Now you wait. The earpiece crackles. Overwatch, this is infiltration lead. We have a problem. What kind of problem? We found the target, but he's not alone. He's being held in a room with 2 additional guards, armed. Alert. We can't proceed without compromise. You scan the compound through the scope, looking for the room, the guards. Where are you? North building, 2nd floor, window facing your position. You find it. Through the window, you can see movement. 2 figures, one sitting in a chair, one standing. The sitting figure turns toward the window, and you see his face. General Raymond Bishop, the man who destroyed your career, the man who called you a coward, the man who lied about Pakistan and walked away clean while you paid the price. He's looking directly at you. You can't see his eyes from this distance, but you know he's looking at you. He knows you're there. And then he does something that stops your heart. He picks up a piece of paper, writes something on it, holds it up to the window. Through the scope, you can read it clearly. Don't trust Cole. Your finger tightens on the trigger. Cole's voice crackles through the earpiece. Urgent, tense. Overwatch, what's your status? You don't answer. You're staring at the message. At Bishop's face, at the choice you're about to make. Overwatch, we need you to take those shots. Now, the guards in that room, take them down so we can extract the target. Your hands are shaking. The crosshairs drift across the window, across Bishop's face, across the 2 guards standing beside him. Overwatch, if you don't take those shots, Bishop dies, and so does your career. This is your last chance. Don't freeze. The word hits you like a slap. Don't freeze. The same thing they said in Pakistan, the same thing Bishop wrote in his report. You think about the boy in Syria, about Tom Graves, about every shot you've missed in the last 9 months, about the life you've lost and the person you used to be. Your finger moves to the trigger. Bishop is still holding the sign, don't trust Cole. You take a breath, and then from somewhere deep in your memory, you hear Tom's voice one last time, not sending it. Wrong coordinates, don't trust them. You lower the rifle, negative, you say into the mic. I can't take the shot. The silence that follows is absolute. Then Cole's voice, cold and final. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, you are relieved of command. Stand down and return to the staging area immediately. That's an order. You don't move. You keep watching through the scope. What you see next changes everything. Cole appears in the window, not on the radio, in person, inside the compound, inside the room with Bishop and the 2 guards. He's not part of the infiltration team. He's already there. He's been there the whole time, and the 2 guards aren't holding Bishop prisoner. They're protecting him. From you, the world narrows to the window. To Cole standing in that room with Bishop and the 2 guards. To the understanding that crashes through you like a wave of ice water. You've been played. Every moment since Cole walked into your cabin in Wyoming, every word he said, every promise he made, all of it was a lie designed to bring you here. To this ridge. To this moment, with your finger on the trigger and nowhere left to run. Cole is looking at something on a tablet. One of the guards hands him a radio. Through the scope, you can read his lips as he speaks into it. She's refusing the shot. Proceed to phase 2. You pull back from the scope. Your heart is hammering against your ribs. Your breath comes short and fast. The night air suddenly feels too thin, like you're at altitude, like the oxygen has been sucked out of the desert. Chen's voice crackles through your earpiece. Overwatch, say again your last. Did you just refuse a direct order? You rip the earpiece out, throw it into the rocks. The silence that follows is absolute except for the wind moving through the sage and the sound of your own breathing. You need to think. You need to understand what's happening. Cole is inside the compound. Cole is talking to the guards who are supposed to be enemies. Cole is coordinating something called Phase 2, which means there was a Phase 1, which means this entire operation was structured around something you weren't told, something you weren't supposed to survive. Bishop's sign flashes through your memory. Don't trust Cole. You should have listened. Movement in your peripheral vision. You swing the rifle right and scan the ridgeline 300 yards to your east. There. A glint of light, metal catching moonlight. A scope. Someone is up there. Someone is watching you. Your training kicks in before your conscious mind catches up. You roll left. Drop below the rocks. Count to 3. Risk a glance over the edge. The bullet hits where your head was 2 seconds ago. The sound follows a half-second later. The crack of a high-powered rifle. Not suppressed, not tranquilizer rounds. Someone just tried to kill you. You scramble backward. Keep the rocks between you and the shooter. Your mind is racing through possibilities. Militia counter-sniper, local law enforcement. Someone Cole positioned to clean up loose ends. Then you see the second glint. Different direction. West Ridge, 400 yards. And a third. South. 500 yards. 3 shooters, 3 positions, all with clear lines of sight to where you were set up 30 seconds ago. Cole's voice echoes through your memory. You'll be positioned approximately 900 yards from the compound. The words take on new meaning. Not positioned for the mission, positioned for the kill. Cole knew exactly where you'd be. He told you where to set up. He put you in a kill box and then triggered it the moment you refused to follow orders. You're being hunted. The rifle. You left it on the bipod when you rolled. It's 15 feet away. Exposed. If you go for it, you'll be visible to at least 2 of the shooters. But without it, you're defenseless. You wait. Count to 30. The shooters will be scanning, looking for movement, waiting for you to panic. You've been on the other side of this equation before. You know how it works. Patience wins. Discipline wins. The first person to move is the first person to die. But you can't wait forever. They'll maneuver, close the distance, flush you out. You need the rifle. You take 3 deep breaths, then you move. Fast and low. Grab the TAC-50. Keep moving. Don't stop. Don't give them a stable target. You dive behind a larger boulder cluster 20 yards from your original position. Tuck into cover. Listen, 2 shots. Both hit the rocks where you just were. The shooters are good, professional. They're compensating for your speed and direction. Another few seconds and they'll adjust. Find your new position. You need to become the hunter again. You find a gap in the rocks. Barely 6 inches, just enough to thread the rifle barrel through. You scan the east ridge where you saw the first glint. There. Movement. A shadow separating from other shadows. The shooter is repositioning, moving to a better angle. He thinks you're pinned. He thinks you're scared. He's wrong. You steady your breathing. Calculate the range. 800 yards. Uphill. Wind is negligible at this hour. The shooter is moving at a steady pace. Not hurrying, confident, you put the crosshairs 3 feet ahead of his path. Lead him. Wait for him to walk into the shot. Your finger finds the trigger, and you freeze. It happens so fast, you don't have time to fight it. The shake starts in your hands and spreads to your arms. Your vision narrows. The crosshairs drift. The shooter keeps moving, keeps getting closer. In 30 seconds, he'll have a clear shot at your position. You can't do this. You can't shoot him, even though he's trying to kill you, even though this is pure survival, even though every tactical bone in your body is screaming at you to take the shot. You lower the rifle, close your eyes, count to 5. When you open them, Tom Graves is sitting next to you. You know he's not real. You know he's a hallucination, a product of stress and fear and the PTSD you've been carrying since Syria. But he looks so solid, so present, wearing the same uniform he died in, the same expression he wore the last time you saw him alive. You can't shoot, Tom says. His voice is calm, understanding. It's okay. I get it, you're not real. Does that matter? He gestures toward the east ridge. That guy is real, and he's going to kill you in about 20 seconds. So maybe you should focus on that instead of whether I'm a ghost or a breakdown. I can't shoot him. Can't, Tom says, or won't. The distinction feels important, but you don't have time to explore it. The shooter on the east ridge has stopped moving. He's found cover. He's setting up. In 10 seconds, he'll be ready to fire. You need to move, Tom says. Now, you grab the rifle and run, staying low, using the terrain. You cover 50 yards before the first shot comes. It hits the ground 3 feet to your left, kicks up dust and rock. The second shot is closer. The third would have hit you if you hadn't thrown yourself behind a dead juniper tree. You're breathing hard. Your shoulder hurts where you hit the ground. The rifle's scope took an impact, and you can see a crack forming in the glass. Not catastrophic yet, but it will be soon. Tom is leaning against the tree next to you, not even breathing hard because he doesn't breathe at all anymore. 3 shooters, he says, professional spacing, coordinated movement. This is a kill team, military trained. Probably Cole's people. I know. So what's the plan? I don't have a plan. I don't even know what's happening. Tom looks at you with something close to pity. You really don't see it. See what? Why Cole brought you here. Why he picked you specifically. Why the whole operation was built around getting you into position on this ridge at this exact moment. The pieces start falling into place. The timing, the setup. The mission that was always going to fail. Bishop, you say slowly. Cole doesn't want to rescue Bishop. He wants Bishop dead, and he wants it to look like I did it. Tom nods. Close, but you're missing the last part. Cole doesn't just want Bishop dead, he wants you dead too. 2 birds, 1 operation. Bishop dies in a tragic rescue attempt gone wrong. You die trying to save him. Heroic, clean, no investigations, no witnesses, just 2 people who knew too much about Cole's operation, permanently silenced. What does Bishop know? Tom shrugs. I'm a hallucination. I only know what you know. But if I had to guess, I'd say Bishop's investigation into Cole goes deeper than embezzlement. Way deeper. The kind of deep that gets people disappeared. You risk a glance around the tree. The shooter on the east ridge is moving again. Flanking. The other 2 will be doing the same. Standard tactics. Collapse the perimeter. Force the target into an untenable position. Execute. You have maybe 5 minutes before they close the net. I need to get to Bishop, you say. Warn him. Get him out. Tom laughs. It's not a cruel sound, just tired. Staff Sergeant, Bishop is inside a compound with armed guards. You're on a ridge with 3 professional killers hunting you. You don't have ammunition, you don't have backup, you don't even have a working radio. What you have is a rifle with a cracked scope and about 4 minutes to live. Getting to Bishop isn't the problem. Staying alive is. He's right. You know he's right. But the alternative is running. Abandoning Bishop. Letting Cole win. And you've spent 9 months living with the consequences of making the safe choice. The choice that kept you alive but killed everyone else. You're not doing that again. You check the rifle. 12 rounds left. Tranquilizer ammunition. Useless for anything except putting people to sleep. You can't kill the shooters with these rounds even if you could make yourself pull the trigger. But you can make them think you're trying. You find a good position. Elevated, clear sight line to the east ridge. You wait until the shooter moves into the open. Then you fire. The round hits the rock face 2 feet above his head. He drops, takes cover. Exactly what you wanted. Now he knows you're armed. Now he knows you're fighting back. Now he has to be careful. You work the bolt, fire at the south ridge. Miss deliberately by 3 feet. The shooter there goes to ground. You're not trying to hit them, you're trying to slow them down, make them cautious. Buy yourself time. Tom is watching you with something that might be approval. That's the Sullivan I remember. Not giving up, not going quiet. You move to a new position. Fire at the west ridge. The round goes wide, but it has the desired effect. The shooter stops advancing, takes cover, starts scanning for your position. You've bought yourself maybe 2 minutes. The compound is 400 yards away. Downhill. Across open ground. If you run for it, The shooters will cut you down before you make it halfway. But if you stay here, they'll close the net and kill you anyway. You need a third option. Your eyes track across the landscape, looking for something, anything. Then you see it. A ravine. 30 yards to your left, deep enough to provide cover. It runs parallel to the compound. If you can reach it, if you can move through it without being seen, you might be able to get close enough to the compound to do something. What that something is, you don't know yet. But it's better than dying on this ridge. You make the decision. Start moving toward the ravine, low crawl, the rocks tear at your clothes, your elbows, your knees. You ignore the pain. Keep moving. Halfway there, Tom's voice stops you. Staff Sergeant, East Ridge, he's moving. You freeze. Look back. The shooter on the East Ridge has left cover. He's advancing, fast. He's seen something. Maybe your movement, maybe just a guess, but he's coming. You have 10 seconds before he has a clear shot. You abandon the crawl, sprint the last 15 yards, throw yourself over the edge of the ravine, fall 8 feet, land hard. The impact drives the air from your lungs. For a moment you can't breathe, can't move, can't do anything except lie there in the dirt and pray the shooter didn't see which way you went. A bullet hits the rim of the ravine, sends a shower of dirt down on top of you. He saw. You force yourself to move, scramble deeper into the ravine. It's narrow here, maybe 4 feet wide. The walls are steep, loose rock and sand. Every step threatens to bring the whole thing down on top of you. But it's cover, and cover is life. You move through the ravine at a half-run, half-crawl. The rifle catches on rocks. Your boots slip in the loose sand. Behind you, you can hear the shooters coordinating, voices carrying across the desert. They're coming. Tom keeps pace with you, not running, not struggling, just there, like he's taking a pleasant evening walk. They're going to flank you, he says. 1 stays high, 2 drop into the ravine, classic hammer and anvil. I know the tactic, so what's your counter? I'm working on it. Work faster. The ravine curves left, opens up into a wider channel. You can see the compound now. Maybe 200 yards, the walls, the guard towers, the lights. And you can see something else. Movement inside the compound, people running, shouting, alarms starting to sound. Your shooting has woken them up. Chen's voice echoes through your memory. The mission profile, 14 minutes. That was how long the window was supposed to be. How long it would take for the guards to wake up from the tranquilizer rounds and realize something was wrong. But you didn't tranquilize all the guards. You only got 6. The other 2 are awake. And they're raising the alarm. The compound is going into lockdown. Bishop is trapped inside. And you're trapped out here. Tom sits down on a rock, lights a cigarette that isn't really there. You're in what we call a tactical clusterfuck. Thanks for the assessment. You're welcome. He takes a drag, exhales smoke that vanishes before it can rise. So let me ask you a question. Why are you doing this? Doing what? Trying to save Bishop. The man destroyed your career. Called you a coward. Watched you get crucified and did nothing. 9 months ago, you would have celebrated if someone told you Bishop was going to die. Now you're risking your life to save him. Why? You don't have an answer. Or maybe you do, but it's not one you can articulate. Something about doing the right thing. Something about not being the person Bishop said you were. Something about proving that you're still a soldier, even if the army doesn't want you anymore. Tom watches you struggle with the answer. Then he nods. Okay, I'll tell you why. You're doing this because the alternative is going home to that cabin in Wyoming and spending the rest of your life wondering if you could have made a difference. You're doing this because you need to know you're still capable of the shot, even if you can't take it. Even if your hands shake and your vision narrows and every part of your training fails you, you need to know you tried. He's right. You hate that he's right, but he is. You check the rifle, 10 rounds left. The scope is worse. The crack has spread. It's still functional, but barely. A sound behind you, boots on rock. The shooters have entered the ravine. You move. Faster now. The ravine is getting shallower. In another 100 yards, it will peter out completely, and you'll be exposed again. You need a plan before that happens. The compound looms ahead. You can see the north building. The window where you saw Cole. The room where Bishop is being held. There are lights on now. Movement. The whole place is waking up. You find a position where the ravine provides cover, but gives you a sight line to the compound. You set up the rifle. Look through the damaged scope. The room is still visible. Bishop is still there. He's standing now, animated, arguing with Cole. You can't hear what they're saying, but you can read the body language. Bishop is angry. Cole is calm. One of the guards has a gun pointed at Bishop's chest. This isn't a rescue. This is an execution. And you're the patsy who's supposed to take the blame. You need to change the equation. You need to do something Cole isn't expecting. Something that forces him to react instead of execute. The guard towers. They're still manned. The guards you tranquilized earlier are waking up. Groggy, confused, but armed. You shift your aim to the north tower. The guard there is reaching for his radio. If he gets through to the others, if he coordinates a response, the compound becomes a fortress. Chen and Ross and Diaz, wherever they are, won't be able to move. They'll be pinned, captured, killed. You put the crosshairs on the guard's radio. Your hands are shaking again. Tom is next to you, watching, not saying anything, just watching. You take a breath, try to steady yourself. The crosshairs drift. Your finger finds the trigger, but it feels like there's 1,000 pounds of pressure holding it in place. I can't, you whisper. Tom's voice is soft. Can't or won't. The guard raises the radio to his lips. You have 2 seconds before he sends the alert. 2 seconds to make the choice. 2 seconds to decide who you are. You fire. The round hits the radio, shatters it. The guard drops it in surprise. Looks around, confused, scared. You didn't hit him. You hit the equipment. Just like you did on the range back at the cabin. Just like you've been doing for 9 months. Finding ways to be effective without being lethal. Finding ways to do the job without doing the thing that broke you. It's not a perfect solution. But it's your solution. You work the bolt. Find the South Tower guard. He's also reaching for a radio. You fire, hit the radio before he can use it. He drops it. Ducks. 2 radios down. Communication disrupted. Not destroyed, but delayed. And delay is all you need. Movement in the ravine behind you. Close now, maybe 50 yards. The shooters are closing in. Tom stands, time to move. You grab the rifle. Start running. The ravine opens up ahead, becomes a dry stream bed. Less cover, but more room to maneuver. You take the risk. Sprint across open ground. Make it to a cluster of boulders. Drop into cover just as a bullet tears through the air where you were. The shooter on the east ridge has high ground. He has the angle. He's firing precision shots, trying to pin you, keep you in place until his partners can flank. You need to break contact, get out of the kill zone. But every direction leads to exposure. Every choice leads to death. Except one. The compound. You look at the walls, 12 feet high, razor wire on top, but there's a section on the west side where the wall abuts a natural rock formation. The rock is higher than the wall. If you can reach it, if you can climb it, you can drop over the wall and into the compound, into the place where Cole is waiting, into the place where you're supposed to be the threat. It's insane. It's tactical suicide. It's exactly what no one will expect. Tom is grinning. Now you're thinking like a ranger. You check the rifle. 8 rounds left. Not enough. You check your pockets, find a spare magazine. 6 more rounds. 14 total, against an entire compound full of armed guards and 3 professional shooters hunting you from outside. The math doesn't work in your favor. But you've never been good at math anyway. You make the run. 40 yards of open ground, every step expecting the bullet, every breath expecting to be your last. Behind you, rifles crack, rounds hit the dirt, kick up dust, come so close you can feel the wind of their passage. You don't stop. Don't look back, just run. The rock formation rises ahead, you hit it at full speed, start climbing. Your fingers find holds, your boots find purchase, the rifle bangs against your back. Your shoulders scream, your lungs burn, a bullet hits the rock 2 feet from your head, sends fragments into your face. You taste blood. Keep climbing, you reach the top, look down into the compound. It's a 12-foot drop to the ground below. No way to do it quietly, No way to do it safely. You do it anyway. You drop. Hit the ground hard. Roll, come up with the rifle ready. The compound is chaos. Guards running, alarms blaring, lights sweeping the grounds. And somewhere in all of it, Cole is executing his plan. Bishop is dying, and you're the only one who can stop it. Tom appears next to you, leaning against the wall like he has all the time in the world. This is the part where you make your choice, he says. You can run. Try to get out, save yourself, or you can go into that building and try to save a man who doesn't deserve it, who wouldn't do the same for you, who would probably rather die than owe you his life. I know. So what's it going to be? You look at the north building, at the window, at the light that marks the room where Bishop is waiting to die. Your hands are shaking. Your vision is blurred from the blood running down your face. Your body is screaming at you to stop, to rest, to run. But you're still standing. You're still armed. You're still in the fight, and that has to be enough. You move toward the building, low and fast, using the shadows, avoiding the lights. The guards are focused on the perimeter, looking for an external threat. They're not expecting someone to already be inside. You reach the building, find a door, it's locked. You could shoot the lock, but that would give away your position. Instead, you move to a window. It's barred, but the bars are old, rusted. You wedge the rifle barrel between two bars and lever them apart. The metal groans, gives, breaks. You slip through, into a hallway. Dark, empty. The alarms are louder here, echoing off the walls. Tom is walking beside you. You're getting close. Can you feel it? Feel what? The moment. The one you've been running from since Syria. The one where you have to decide if you're still a soldier or just someone who used to be. You move down the hallway, checking doors, listening. The building is mostly empty. Most of the guards are outside, responding to the alarm. But there will be some inside, protecting Cole, protecting the asset, protecting Bishop. You find stairs. Start climbing. The second floor. The room should be here somewhere. You're operating on instinct now. On training. On the muscle memory that never left even when everything else did. A door ahead. Light showing underneath. Voices inside. You recognize one of them. Cole. You check the rifle. 6 rounds in the magazine. 1 in the chamber. 7 shots. Against how many guards you don't know. Tom is watching you. This is it. The shot you've been practicing for 9 months. The one that matters. You move to the door, put your hand on the knob, take a breath. Then you hear Bishop's voice from inside. Clear, angry, defiant. You're not going to get away with this, Cole. Too many people know. Too many people are watching. Cole's response is calm, almost bored. Actually, General, I am going to get away with it. Because in about 30 seconds, Staff Sergeant Sullivan is going to burst through that door with a rifle. She's going to try to save you, and my men are going to kill her. And then, tragically, one of the guards who survives her assault is going to panic and shoot you. By the time anyone sorts out what happened, you'll both be dead. The investigation you've been conducting into my operations will disappear with you. And I'll be the grieving intelligence officer who tried his best to mount a rescue. It's actually quite elegant. You freeze. Your hand on the doorknob. Everything Bishop said was true. Cole planned this from the beginning. The whole operation, the whole mission, all of it designed to end with you and Bishop dead. But Cole made one mistake. He told you the plan. And now you know what's coming, which means you can change it. You step away from the door, look at Tom. He's smiling. Not going in, he asks. Not through the front. His smile widens. Now you're thinking. You move down the hallway, find another door. This one leads to a storage room. Inside, there's a window. It overlooks the courtyard. And from here, you can see the window to the room where Bishop and Cole are. You open the storage room window. Lean out. It's a 5-foot gap between buildings, 10 feet down to a narrow ledge. From that ledge, you can reach the window where Bishop is being held. It's a stupid plan. It's dangerous. It's exactly the kind of thing that gets people killed. You make the jump anyway. For a moment, you're airborne, suspended between buildings, between choices, between the person you were and the person you're trying to become. Then your hands catch the ledge, your shoulders scream, your fingers slip, you swing, kick, find purchase, you pull yourself up, Balance on the ledge, 6 inches wide. Nothing between you and the ground below, except gravity and bad decisions. You inch along the ledge, reach the window, look inside. Bishop sees you first. His eyes widen. He starts to say something, then stops himself. Covers it by coughing. Draws Cole's attention away from the window. You can see the whole room now. Cole is standing near the door, 2 guards with him, both armed, both professional. This isn't militia. This is private military, Cole's personal security. And you can see Bishop, sitting in a chair, hands bound but alive, alert, watching Cole with the expression of a man who knows he's about to die and has made peace with it. You look at Tom. He's standing on the ledge next to you. Impossible, but there anyway. "What's the play?" he asks. "I don't know yet. You've got about 10 seconds before someone looks out this window and sees you, so figure it out fast." You look at the rifle, at the window, at the angle. You could shoot through the glass, take out the guards, maybe, if your hands don't shake, if the damaged scope holds, if you can make yourself pull the trigger. But even if you make the shots, Cole will have backup. More guards will come. You'll be trapped on this ledge. Easy target. Easy kill, unless you change the rules. You look at Bishop, at Cole, at the guards, and you make a decision that Tom Graves would be proud of. You don't take the shot. Instead, you tap on the window, loud enough to be heard over the alarms, loud enough to make everyone in the room turn and look. Cole sees you. For a moment, something like surprise crosses his face. Then it's gone, replaced by cold calculation. "Staff Sergeant Sullivan," he says through the glass, "I have to admit, I didn't expect you to make it this far. But here you are, persistent to the end. You gesture to the window. Open it." Cole smiles. "I don't think so. Then I'll shoot through it." You raise the rifle, put the crosshairs on Cole's chest. Your hands are shaking. The scope is cracked. The angle is bad. You'd be lucky to hit the room, much less a specific target. But Cole doesn't know that. His smile fades. He looks at his guards, nods. One of them moves to the window, opens it 6 inches. Just enough for sound to pass through. "What do you want, Sullivan?" "I want you to let Bishop go." Cole laughs. "And why would I do that?" "Because I have a rifle pointed at your chest. Because I'm the best shooter you've ever seen. And because if you don't let him go, I'm going to put a round through that window and into your skull before your guards can blink." Cole studies you, still calculating, still trying to find the angle. "You're bluffing," he says. "You can't shoot people anymore. That's why I picked you for this operation. Because I knew when the moment came, when you had to take the shot, you'd freeze. Just like you did in Pakistan. Just like you've done every day since Syria." He's right. And you both know it. But you're still pointing the rifle at him, and that has to count for something. "Maybe I can't shoot you," you say. "But I can shoot that tablet you're holding. I can shoot the radio on your belt. I can shoot the light above your head and drop glass on all of you. I've been practicing for 9 months, and I've gotten very good at hitting things that aren't people." Cole's expression shifts, just slightly, just enough to let you know you've made a point. "What do you want?" he asks again. "Let Bishop walk out of this room. Let him leave the compound. And I'll disappear. You'll never hear from me again. And what makes you think I'll honor that deal? Because if you don't, I'll go to every news outlet in the country and tell them exactly what happened here. About your operation. About your involvement with the Covenant. About the investigation Bishop was conducting. All of it. You kill me, and it all comes out anyway. But you let Bishop go, and maybe, just maybe, I keep my mouth shut. It's a weak play. You both know it, but it's the only play you have." Cole considers. The seconds stretch. Then he nods to one of the guards. "Cut him loose." The guard moves to Bishop, cuts the zip ties binding his wrists. Bishop stands, rubs his wrists, looks at Cole. "This isn't over," Bishop says. "No," Cole agrees. "It's not." Bishop moves toward the door, stops, looks back at you through the window. "Thank you," he says. You nod. "Don't make me regret it." He almost smiles. Then he's gone, out the door, into the hallway, running. Cole watches him go. Then he looks back at you. His expression is unreadable. "You know you're not getting out of here alive," he says. "My team is already moving into position. The shooters outside have the compound surrounded. You can't run, you can't hide." This is the end, Staff Sergeant Sullivan. Maybe, you say, but at least Bishop is going to live. And that means your operation fails. Your investigation gets exposed. Your career ends. Cole's smile returns, colder than before. You think Bishop is going to live long enough to reach civilization? I have assets everywhere, on every road out of here, in every town within 100 miles. Bishop is a dead man, he just doesn't know it yet. Then I guess I'll have to make sure he knows. You pull back from the window, drop from the ledge, land in the courtyard below. Roll, come up running. Behind you, Cole is shouting orders. The guards are mobilizing. The shooters outside are repositioning. And somewhere ahead of you, Bishop is running for his life. Tom is keeping pace with you, running through the courtyard, through the chaos. Hell of a play, he says. Terrible play. But it's all I have. So what now? Now I make sure Bishop gets out. And then I figure out how to survive the next 5 minutes. You reach the west wall. The section where you climbed in, start climbing back up. Your body is screaming, your hands are bleeding, but you keep moving. You reach the top. Look back. The compound is fully alert now, guards everywhere, lights sweeping, and Cole standing at the window watching you climb. He raises a radio to his lips. You can't hear what he says, but you can guess. You drop down the other side of the wall, hit the ground outside the compound, look around. The desert stretches in every direction, dark, empty, and somewhere out there, 3 professional shooters are waiting. You need to find Bishop, before Cole's people do, before the shooters find you, before the last of your ammunition runs out and you're left with nothing but your wits and a prayer. Tom is standing next to you, looking out at the desert. You know this is suicide, right? He says. There's no way you make it out of this alive. I know. So why are you doing it? You think about the question, about the cabin in Wyoming, about 9 months of failure, about the boy in Syria and the senator in Pakistan, and every shot you couldn't take, and every choice you made that led you here, because someone has to, you say. And right now, that someone is me. Tom nods, then he says something that stops you cold. Staff Sergeant, I need to tell you something about Syria, about the day I died, about the coordinates. You turn to face him. What about them? They weren't wrong, Tom says. I gave you the right coordinates. You shot exactly where I told you to shoot. That's not possible. I killed a boy. Yes, Tom says quietly, but not the boy I was aiming at. The intelligence was wrong. The target designation was wrong. We were set up, just like you're being set up now. You stare at him. Your hands are shaking again, but for a different reason this time. What are you saying? I'm saying you didn't fail, Tom says. I didn't fail. We were both just soldiers following orders in a system that was already broken. And the guilt you've been carrying, the weight that's been crushing you for 3 years, it was never yours to carry. It was theirs. The people who gave us bad intelligence, the people who sent us into situations we couldn't win. The people like Cole who treat soldiers as expendable assets instead of human beings. You can't breathe, can't think, can't process what he's telling you. So take the shot, Tom says. Not at Bishop, not at Cole's guards, not at anyone. Take the shot at the person who's been keeping you from being who you were meant to be. Take the shot at yourself, at the fear, at the guilt, at the voice that tells you you're not good enough, strong enough, brave enough to do this. He steps closer, his voice drops to a whisper. You were never broken, Sullivan. You were just human. And humans break, but they also heal, so heal. Take the shot, and mean it this time. You look down at your hands, they're still shaking. But maybe that's okay. Maybe you don't need steady hands to make the shot that matters. Maybe you just need the courage to try. A sound in the darkness. Engines, vehicles. Cole's people are coming. Tom fades, disappears into the shadows, but his voice lingers. Take the shot. You start running, into the desert, into the dark, toward whatever comes next. And for the first time in 9 months, you don't feel like you're running away. You feel like you're running toward something. The desert at night is a study in contrasts, light and shadow, sound and silence. The stars overhead so bright they cast shadows of their own. Your boots pound against hard-pack earth. Your breath comes in controlled bursts. Behind you, the compound recedes into the darkness. Ahead, somewhere in this vast expanse of nothing, Bishop is running for his life. You need to find him before Cole's people do. The rifle is heavy in your hands. 5 rounds left. The scope is barely functional. The crack in the glass has spread to the point where half your field of view is fractured into geometric shards. You should abandon it. Move faster without the weight. But giving up the rifle feels like giving up the last piece of who you used to be. So you keep running. The terrain is broken. Scattered rocks, dry washes, patches of sage that catch at your legs. You use the natural cover, move from shadow to shadow. Your training is coming back. Not the marksmanship, that's still broken, but the fieldcraft, the ability to move through hostile territory without being seen. That part of you never left. You stop at the top of a low rise. Listen. The night carries sound in strange ways out here. You can hear the compound behind you. Vehicles starting, voices calling, Cole mobilizing his people. And ahead, somewhere in the darkness, the sound of someone moving. Fast, panicked, not trying to be quiet. Bishop, you move toward the sound, keeping low. The moonlight is both ally and enemy. It shows you the ground, but it also shows you to anyone looking. You compromise, move in spurts, sprint from cover to cover. Stop. Listen. Sprint again. You find Bishop 300 yards from the compound. He's collapsed against a boulder, breathing hard. His hands are still bound, not cut free like you thought. The guard must have just loosened them enough for Bishop to slip out. Now he's struggling to pull them apart. You approach from the side, slow, not wanting to spook him. When you're 10 feet away, you speak. General. Bishop spins, his eyes are wild, then he sees you. Recognition, relief, something else you can't quite identify. Sullivan. His voice is raw. I thought you were dead. Not yet. You move closer, kneel beside him, pull a knife from your belt, start cutting the zip ties. Their industrial strength takes longer than it should. Cole's people are coming, Bishop says. I can hear the vehicles. I know, you finish cutting. The ties fall away. Bishop rubs his wrists. They're raw, bleeding. He's been working at them for a while. Why did you come back? Bishop asks. After what I did to you. After Pakistan. You should have let me die. You stand, scan the horizon, looking for headlights. Not yet, but soon. Probably, you say. But then Cole wins. And I'm not ready to let that happen. Bishop struggles to his feet. He's older than you remember. The 9 months since Pakistan have aged him. Or maybe it's just the context. In the inquiry room, he was powerful, in control. Here in the desert, running for his life, he's just a man who made bad choices and is paying for them. We need to move, you say. Put distance between us and the compound. Find somewhere defensible. Where? Bishop gestures at the empty desert. There's nothing out here, then we make something. You start moving. Bishop follows. He's slower than you, not in bad shape for his age, but not conditioned for this kind of movement. You adjust your pace. Keep him close. Behind you, the first headlights appear, sweeping the desert, searching. You find a cluster of rocks. Not ideal, but better than open ground. You position Bishop in the center. Give him the knife. If they get past me, you say, use this. Bishop looks at the knife. At you. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, I need to tell you something about Pakistan. Not now. Yes, now. He grabs your arm. The strength in his grip surprises you. What I did to you. What I said in that inquiry. It was all a lie. You followed my orders exactly. I told you not to take the shot. I knew the building was rigged. I knew Senator Reeves was already dead. The whole operation was compromised from the start, and I needed someone to blame, someone to take the fall so I could cover my own failure. You already knew this. Cole told you. But hearing it from Bishop, hearing the man who destroyed your career admit it to your face, that hits different. Why, you ask? Because I'm a coward, Bishop says simply. Because I spent 30 years building a reputation, and I wasn't willing to sacrifice it for the truth. Because when the moment came to stand up and admit I'd failed, I chose to destroy you instead. The headlights are getting closer. You can hear engines now. Multiple vehicles, fanning out, searching in a grid pattern. We can discuss your moral failings later, you say. Right now, I need you to stay quiet and stay down. Bishop releases your arm, sinks back against the rocks. Sullivan, thank you for coming back, for not being the person I said you were. You don't respond. You're watching the vehicles. 3 of them, SU-5s. Moving slowly, methodically, they have spotlights, thermal imaging probably. It's only a matter of time before they find you. You need a plan. The rifle has 5 rounds, 5 shots, against 3 vehicles full of trained operators. The math doesn't work, even if you could make every shot count. Even if your hands were steady and your scope was clear and you were the shooter you used to be. But you're not that shooter anymore. You're something else. Something that has learned to work around the braking instead of pretending it isn't there. You scan the area, looking for advantages. The rocks provide cover but not concealment. Anyone with thermal will see your heat signature through the gaps. But rocks also provide something else. Ricochet potential, hard surfaces, angles. You don't need to hit the people in those vehicles. You just need to make them think twice about getting close. You settle into position. Brace the rifle against a rock. The damaged scope makes it hard to see clearly, but you don't need clear vision for this. You just need trajectory. The first vehicle is 200 yards out, moving parallel to your position. The spotlight sweeps across the desert, gets closer. You aim at the ground 15 feet in front of the vehicle. Fire. The round hits dirt, kicks up a spray of rock and dust. The vehicle stops. The spotlight swings toward your position. You've just told them where you are, but you've also made them cautious. The vehicle backs up, puts more distance between you. The other 2 vehicles adjust, forming a perimeter. Not closing in. Not yet. They're calling it in. Coordinating, planning, buying you time. Bishop is watching you. There's something in his expression you haven't seen before. Not respect exactly. More like recognition. He's seeing you as you are, not as the person he tried to make you in his report. Not a coward, not a failure, just a soldier doing the best she can with what she has. The second vehicle moves, trying to flank, get an angle on your position. You track it. Wait until it's committed to the path. Then you fire at the ground in front of it. Same result. The vehicle stops, backs off. 4 rounds left. You can keep this up for maybe another 3 minutes. Then you're out of ammunition. Then it's just you and Bishop and a knife against however many operators Cole sent. The odds aren't good. Tom appears next to you. He's sitting on a rock, relaxed, like he's watching a show. Creative solution, he says. I'll give you that. But you're just delaying the inevitable. They'll wait you out, or they'll call in more assets. Air support maybe. Drones. You can't win this. I don't need to win. I just need to survive long enough. Long enough for what? You don't answer. Because you don't have an answer. You're making this up as you go. Trusting that something will break in your favor, that some opportunity will present itself. It's a thin hope, but it's all you have. The third vehicle is moving now. Different approach, coming straight at you. Fast. The driver is gambling that you won't shoot, that you can't shoot, that whatever broke you in Syria and Pakistan is still broken. He's half right. You track the vehicle, put the crosshairs on the windshield, not at the driver, at the glass itself. Your finger finds the trigger. The shake starts. Your hands, your arms, your breathing. The vehicle is 100 yards out. Accelerating, you can't do this. The target is too close to human, too close to the choice you've been running from. 50 yards, Tom leans forward, interested now. Staff Sergeant, you need to take the shot. I can't. Then you're going to die, and Bishop is going to die, and Cole wins. 25 yards. The vehicle's headlights are blinding. You can see the driver now, young, male, face set with determination. He thinks you won't shoot. He thinks you're broken. You pull the trigger. The round hits the windshield, doesn't penetrate, just spiderwebs the glass. But it's enough. The driver panics, swerves. The vehicle loses traction, slides, tips, rolls. It comes to rest on its side 30 feet from your position. 3 rounds left. The other 2 vehicles immediately pull back, way back, out of rifle range. They've reassessed the threat, decided you're more dangerous than they thought. Good. You check on Bishop. He's staring at you with something like awe. "That was incredible," he says. "That was lucky. You eject the magazine, check the rounds. 3 left like you thought, plus the one in the chamber. 4 total, not enough if they decide to rush you all at once. Bishop seems to read your mind. What do we do when they come back?" "We adapt," you say. It's not much of an answer, but it's all you have. The rolled vehicle's doors open. 2 operators climb out. They're shaken but mobile. They move to cover, join the perimeter. Now there are even more guns out there, even more people between you and escape. Tom is shaking his head. "You're just prolonging it. You know that, right? The only way out of this is through. And through means shooting people, real people, not equipment, not windshields, people." "I know. So when are you going to do it?" You don't answer, because the truth is you don't know. You don't know if you can. You don't know if the breaking in you is something that can be fixed or something you just have to learn to live with. Your radio crackles. You'd forgotten you were still wearing it. Tucked into your vest, damaged from the climb but still functional apparently. Cole's voice comes through, clear, calm, utterly controlled. "Staff Sergeant Sullivan, I'm impressed. You've survived longer than I expected. But this is where it ends. You're surrounded, outgunned, out of options. So let me make you an offer." You don't respond. "Just listen." "Walk away," Cole continues. "Leave Bishop, walk into the desert and disappear. I'll call off my people. You'll have a 12-hour head start. That's more than enough time to get clear. To vanish. Start over somewhere new, with a new name and a new life." He pauses, lets that sink in. "Or you can stay. Try to protect a man who destroyed your career, a man who called you a coward and ruined your life, a man who wouldn't hesitate to throw you under the bus again if it served his interests. Your choice. But you have 60 seconds to make it." Bishop is looking at you, not saying anything, not asking you to stay, just looking. The silence stretches. Tom is watching with interest. "Well, what's it going to be?" You think about the cabin in Wyoming, about 9 months of isolation, about starting over in some other nowhere place with some other name, and the same broken pieces of yourself. You think about Senator Reeves, about Tom Graves, about the boy in Syria, about all the people who died because you did or didn't pull a trigger, and you think about the fact that you're still here, still standing, still fighting, despite everything Cole did, despite everything Bishop did, despite everything you did to yourself. That has to mean something. You key the radio. "Negative," you say. "I'm not leaving." Cole's sigh is audible. "I was afraid you'd say that. Shame. You would have made it far. You're tougher than I gave you credit for." The radio goes quiet. You have maybe 30 seconds before they make their move. Bishop speaks quietly. "Sullivan, you should go. He's right. I'm not worth dying for." You look at him, at the man who destroyed you, at the man you just risked everything to save. "Maybe not," you say, "but the principle is." What principle? That some things matter more than survival, more than self-preservation, more than getting out clean. You turn back to the perimeter. The vehicles are repositioning, getting ready for the final push. Tom stands, walks to stand in front of you, blocking your view. "This is it," he says. "The moment. The one you've been running from, the one you've been practicing for, the one that defines whether you're still a soldier or just someone pretending to be." "I know. So take the shot, Sullivan. For real this time. No equipment, no windshields, no delays, just you and the rifle and the choice you've been avoiding for 3 years." The vehicles start moving. All 3, coming from different angles, coordinated, professional. In 15 seconds, they'll be in effective range. In 30, they'll overrun your position. You raise the rifle, put your eye to the fractured scope. The world splinters into geometric shards. Multiple images of the same vehicle. Multiple crosshairs. Multiple choices. Your hands are shaking so badly you can barely hold the weapon. "I can't," you whisper. Tom's voice is soft now, gentle, can't or won't. The question hangs in the air, the same question he's been asking since you started this journey. The same question you've been avoiding. You think about what he told you in the last part, About Syria, about the coordinates, about the fact that you weren't wrong, you weren't broken, you were just human. And humans make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes cost lives. And you have to learn to live with that, but you also have to learn to live. Not just survive. Live. The vehicles are 10 seconds out. You lower the rifle. Tom stares at you. What are you doing? Making a different choice. You reach into your vest, pull out a flare, one of the emergency items from your kit. You haven't thought about it until now, haven't had a reason to use it. But you have a reason now. You pop the flare. Bright red light floods the desert, blindingly bright against the darkness. The vehicles slow. Confused. Not expecting this. And in that moment of confusion, you see it. The thing you've been waiting for without knowing you were waiting for it. Another set of headlights, coming from the east. Fast, not one of Cole's vehicles, too small, too fast, too reckless. It's Chen's infiltration van, the one you rode in on the way to the staging area, the one Chen and Ross and Diaz used to position themselves. They're still out there, still operational, and they've seen the flare. The van comes in at full speed, cuts between your position and the approaching vehicles, slides to a stop in a spray of dirt and rock. The side door flies open. Chen is there, rifle up, covering the vehicles. Get in. You grab Bishop, half carry, half drag him to the van, throw him inside, dive in after him. The van is moving before the door closes. Diaz is driving. Ross is in the back with medical gear. Chen is at the door, firing controlled bursts at the pursuing vehicles, not to kill, just to keep them back. You made it, Ross says. She sounds surprised. Barely, you reply. The van hits the hardpack, accelerates. The pursuing vehicles fall back. They're not giving up, just regrouping. But you've bought time, distance, a chance. Chen pulls the door closed, sits back, looks at you. Cole's been trying to call us off for the last hour, he says, saying the mission was compromised, saying you'd gone rogue. But Ross had a feeling something was wrong. So we stayed dark, watched from distance. When we saw the flare, we figured either you needed help or it was the world's dumbest trap. Lucky for me, you chose right, you say. Chen almost smiles. Yeah, lucky. Diaz is pushing the van hard. The suspension protests, but he keeps it moving. Keeps the distance growing between you and Cole's people. Bishop is slumped against the wall, breathing hard. His wrists are still bleeding. Ross moves to him, starts field dressing the wounds. General, she says, can you tell me what happened? Bishop looks at her, then at you, then at Chen. His expression is that of a man making a decision. I can tell you, he says, but you're not going to like it. Try us, Chen says. Bishop takes a breath. Marcus Cole is running a parallel intelligence operation. Off the books. Funded by black-budget money he's been skimming for the last 5 years. He's been using domestic militia groups as contractors for operations the CIA won't officially sanction. Assassinations, sabotage, intimidation. And he's been covering his tracks by eliminating anyone who gets close to the truth. How do you know this? Ross asks. Because I've been investigating him for 8 months, Bishop says. I suspected something 2 weeks ago. The patterns were there, money moving in ways it shouldn't. Operations that didn't add up. So I started recording everything. Every meeting, every conversation. Built my insurance policy piece by piece. He pauses, and for the first time since you met him, his expression softens with something like regret. I encrypted the recordings and set up dead man switches. If I didn't check in every 48 hours, copies would go to 3 different agencies. Then Cole's people grabbed me, tried to make it look like the Covenant, but I'd already prepared for this. Bishop pulls something from his pocket, a small digital recorder, still intact somehow, despite everything he's been through. It's all on here, he says. Cole's confession, his financial records, names of everyone involved. This is what he's really after. Not me, this. Without it, I'm just a retired general with a theory. With it, I can bury him. He hands the recorder to you. This is what he's really after, Bishop says. Not me. This. Without it, I'm just a retired general with a theory. With it, I can bury him. You look at the recorder. Small, innocuous. The kind of thing that would be easy to destroy, easy to lose, easy to dismiss as fabricated evidence. But it's real, and it's everything. Why give it to me, you ask? Because, Bishop says, I owe you, more than I can ever repay. What I did to you in Pakistan, what I said in that inquiry, I destroyed your life to save my career. And you still came back for me, still risked everything. So now I'm giving you the choice. What happens to Cole? What happens to this evidence? What happens next? That's on you. You hold the recorder. Feel the weight of it. Not the physical weight, the other kind. The weight of consequences, of choices, of the future. The van hits a paved road. Diaz turns north, away from the compound, away from Cole's people, toward civilization, toward safety. But safety is relative, and Cole has resources. Reach, people everywhere, just like he said. This isn't over, not by a long shot. You need to think, need to plan, need to figure out the next move. But first, you need to understand something. You look at Bishop. Why Utah? Why the Covenant? If Cole wanted you dead, there are easier ways. Bishop's expression darkens. Because it's not just about killing me, it's about discrediting me. The Covenant is a domestic terrorist organization. If I die in their compound, if it looks like I was there voluntarily, if the narrative becomes that I was working with them, my investigation dies with me. No one believes a traitor. No one follows up on a traitor's accusations. Cole gets clean, gets to play the hero who tried to rescue me. And no one ever knows the truth. It's elegant, you admit. Twisted. But elegant. Cole is a lot of things, Bishop says, but stupid isn't one of them. The van drives through the night. You watch the landscape pass. Desert giving way to scrub, scrub giving way to scattered development, signs of civilization returning. Your hands have stopped shaking. You notice it suddenly. The rifle is resting across your knees and your hands are steady. Not perfect, but steady enough. Tom is sitting next to you, looking out the window, not saying anything. Just there. You did good, he says finally. Back there, with the flare, with the choice not to shoot. You found another way. That takes more courage than pulling the trigger ever did. You don't feel courageous. You feel tired, scared, uncertain about everything that comes next. But you're alive, and Bishop is alive, and Cole's secrets are in your pocket. That has to be worth something. The van pulls into a truck stop, small, off the highway, the kind of place that asks no questions and remembers no faces. Diaz parks around back, kills the engine. Everyone out, Chen says. We need to make a decision about next steps. You climb out. Your legs are shaky. Your shoulder hurts where you hit the ground. Your face is still bleeding from the rock fragments. But you're functional, mobile, ready for whatever comes next. Bishop exits more slowly. Ross helps him. He's in worse shape than he's letting on. The interrogation wasn't gentle. The escape was hard. He needs real medical attention, not just field dressing. Chen is on a phone. Encrypted, probably. Calling someone, reporting. You can't hear the conversation, but you can see his face. It's not good news. He hangs up. Looks at the group. Cole has put out a BOLO on all of us, he says. Be on lookout. We're wanted for questioning in connection with a terrorist incident at a compound in southern Utah. Federal charges. He's moving fast, locking us down before we can get our story out. Ross swears quietly. How long do we have? Hours, Chen says, maybe less. Every cop in 3 states is going to be looking for this van. For us. We need to dump it, split up, go to ground. Bishop shakes his head. No. If we split up, Cole picks us off one by one. We need to stay together. Strength in numbers. With respect, General, Chen says, we're not exactly an army. We're 4 operators and a civilian in a stolen van with federal charges hanging over us. Staying together just makes us an easier target. The argument continues. You tune it out. You're thinking about the recorder in your pocket. About the evidence. About what Cole said on the radio. He's not just trying to kill you. He's trying to erase you, make you the villain. The rogue operator who kidnapped a general and staged a terrorist incident. The story is already being written. The narrative is already set. And the only way to break it is to get ahead of it. You pull out the recorder, look at it. Then you look at Chen. Who were you calling, you ask? Chen hesitates. Then, my handler at Langley. someone I trust, someone who might be able to help. Did they believe you? Chen's expression says everything. No, they didn't. They think Cole's version is more credible. They think we're the problem. You nod. Make a decision. We're not running, you say. We're not hiding. We're going on offense. Everyone looks at you. What are you suggesting? Bishop asks. I'm suggesting we take this evidence and we broadcast it. Everywhere, every news outlet, every website, every platform that will carry it. We flood the zone, make it impossible for Cole to suppress, force the story out before he can control the narrative. That's insane, Ross says. The moment we go public, every agency in the country will be hunting us. They're already hunting us, you point out. The only question is whether we go down quiet or we go down loud. I vote loud. Chen is considering it. His tactical mind running scenarios. It's risky. High probability of failure. What's the alternative, you ask? We run until Cole's people find us? We hide until the charges stick? We die in some black site interrogation room while Cole walks free? The silence that follows is heavy. Bishop speaks. She's right. This is our only play. We go public. We tell the truth. We let the chips fall where they may. Chen looks at Ross. Ross looks at Diaz. Diaz shrugs. I'm in, Diaz says. Beats dying in a ditch. Ross nods. Same. Chen takes a breath. All right, we go loud, but we do it smart. We need a location with public access. Cameras, witnesses, somewhere Cole can't just disappear us. You have an idea. There's a federal building in Salt Lake City, FBI field office, press conference room. We walk in with the evidence, request protective custody, hold a press conference simultaneously, make it public before they can stop us. That's bold, Chen says. Also probably stupid. Probably, you agree, but it's the best shot we have. The decision is made. The group moves with purpose now. Chen retrieves gear from the van, communications equipment, laptops, cameras, everything they'll need to broadcast the story. Bishop pulls you aside while the others work. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, he says, I need to ask you something. When this is over, when Cole is exposed and the investigation is complete, what are you going to do? You think about the question, about the cabin in Wyoming, about 9 months of failed shots, about the life you had and the life you've been living. I don't know, you say honestly. I haven't thought that far ahead. You should, Bishop says, because if we survive this, if we get Cole, I'm going to make sure your record is corrected, your rank is restored, your reputation is cleared. Everything I took from you, I'm going to give back. You look at him, at the man who destroyed you, at the man who is trying to make amends. Why, you ask? Why now? Because Bishop says, I saw you out there, in the desert, at the compound. I saw what you did, how you adapted, how you found ways to accomplish the mission without becoming something you're not. That's not cowardice. That's integrity, and I was wrong to ever suggest otherwise. His words hit harder than you expect. You've spent 9 months trying to prove you're not a coward, trying to fix the breaking in yourself, trying to become the shooter you used to be. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is to become something new, something better. Something that knows when to take the shot and when to find another way. Thank you say. It's inadequate, but it's all you have. Bishop nods. Now let's go take down a traitor. The drive to Salt Lake City takes 3 hours. Chen dumps the van at a park and ride, switches to a civilian vehicle. Diaz hotwires from the lot. They drive in silence, everyone processing, everyone preparing for what comes next. You watch the sunrise through the window, pink and orange spreading across the sky, burning away the darkness. A new day. A new chance. Tom is in the seat next to you. He's been quiet since the truck stop, just watching, thinking. This is it, he says finally. The end of the line. After this, you won't need me anymore. You look at him. At the ghost that's been haunting you for 3 years. At the guilt made manifest. At the voice that wouldn't let you forget. I don't want to let you go, you say. I know, Tom says, but you have to. Not because I wasn't real, but because what I represented, the guilt and the fear and the breaking, that's not who you are anymore. You've proven that. You've become something else. Something stronger. What if I'm not ready? Tom smiles. You've been ready, you just didn't know it. The shot you've been afraid to take, the one you've been practicing for, it was never about shooting a person. It was about letting yourself heal, about forgiving yourself for being human, about understanding that broken things can still be useful, can still be beautiful, can still matter. The words settle over you like snow, soft, cold, true. I'm scared, you admit. Good, Tom says. Fear means you're alive, means you're still fighting, means you haven't given up. Don't ever lose that. The vehicle pulls up to the federal building, large, imposing, the kind of structure designed to project authority and power. Chen parks across the street. Everyone prepares. Bishop has the recorder, Chen has the communications equipment. Ross has medical supplies in case things go wrong. Diaz has multiple cameras to broadcast live. And you have the rifle, still damaged, still barely functional, but still yours. We go in fast, Chen says. Straight to the security desk. Request protective custody. Demand to speak with the special agent in charge. The moment we're inside, we start broadcasting. Live feed, multiple platforms, everything at once. Make it impossible to shut down. What if they arrest us on sight? Ross asks. Then we go down fighting, Chen says. Not with bullets, with truth. Everyone nods. The plan is set. Probably doomed, but set. You all exit the vehicle, cross the street. The federal building looms, glass and steel, and the promise of justice or destruction. You're not sure which. Tom walks beside you. One last time. This is where I leave you, he says. But before I go, I need you to know something. You were never the problem, Sullivan. Syria wasn't your fault. Pakistan wasn't your fault. The breaking in you, the thing you've been fighting, that was never weakness. It was your conscience, your humanity, the part of you that refuses to become a machine. Hold on to that. Don't let them take it from you. You want to say something. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm sorry. But the words won't come. Tom understands. He always understood. Take care of yourself, Sullivan. And when the moment comes, when you finally take that last shot, make sure it counts. Then he's gone, fading into the morning light, leaving you alone with the living and the choice you're about to make. You enter the building. The security checkpoint is ahead. Guards with weapons, metal detectors, protocols designed to prevent exactly what you're about to attempt. Bishop approaches the desk. His voice is calm, authoritative, the voice of a man who spent 30 years in command. I am General Raymond Bishop, United States Army, retired. I am here to request federal protection and to provide testimony regarding a matter of national security. I am accompanied by members of my security detail. We are all armed. We are surrendering our weapons and requesting immediate contact with the special agent in charge of this office. The guards tense, hands move to sidearms, but they don't draw, not yet. They're trying to assess the situation, determine if this is a threat or a legitimate request. Chen sets down his equipment, holds up his hands. Lieutenant Derek Chen, Army Rangers. We are not hostile, we are seeking protection and requesting to make a statement. Slowly, carefully, everyone sets down their weapons. The guards relax slightly. One of them speaks into a radio, calling for backup, calling for a supervisor, calling for someone to make a decision about what to do with 5 armed individuals claiming to need protection. The wait is agonizing. You expect Cole's people to burst through the doors, expect federal agents to swarm you, expect everything to go wrong in the way operations always go wrong. But nothing happens. After 5 minutes, a woman in a suit appears. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, FBI Special Agent badge clipped to her belt. I'm Special Agent Keller, she says. Someone want to explain what's going on here? Bishop steps forward, hands her the recorder. This device contains evidence of criminal activity by a senior CIA official, specifically Deputy Director Marcus Cole. The evidence includes recorded confessions, financial records, and details of illegal operations conducted on U.S. soil. I am requesting protective custody while this evidence is reviewed and verified. Agent Keller looks at the recorder, at Bishop, at the rest of you. Her expression is unreadable. This is highly irregular, she says. Yes, Bishop agrees. It is, but it's also urgent. Cole is currently attempting to eliminate everyone in this room. We came here because this building represents federal authority and the rule of law. We're trusting that means something. Keller considers. Then she makes a decision. Follow me. She leads you deeper into the building, to a conference room, secure, monitored. The kind of place designed for sensitive discussions. She directs you to seats, stations guards outside the door. Then she takes the recorder, plugs it into a laptop, starts playing the files. What follows is 3 hours of testimony. Bishop walking through the evidence, Chen and Ross corroborating details, Diaz providing technical analysis of the data, and you sitting quietly, watching the story unfold. The recordings are damning. Cole's voice, clear, detailed, admitting everything: the embezzlement, the illegal operations, the use of militia groups, the plan to eliminate Bishop and frame you. It's everything you need. Everything and more. Agent Keller listens, takes notes. Her expression never changes. Professional, controlled, giving nothing away. When Bishop finishes, when the last recording plays, when the last piece of evidence is presented, Keller sits back, looks at the group. This is significant, she says. If verified, this represents one of the largest intelligence scandals in a decade. I'll need to brief my superiors, coordinate with justice. This is going to take time. We don't have time, you say. It's the first time you've spoken since entering the building. Cole is mobilizing, covering his tracks. Every minute we wait is a minute he uses to destroy evidence and eliminate witnesses. Keller looks at you. And you are? Staff Sergeant Rachel Sullivan, the one Cole tried to frame for all of this. Keller's expression shifts slightly. Recognition. She's seen your name in the reports, knows the story Cole is trying to tell. Staff Sergeant Sullivan, she says carefully, I understand your concern, but federal investigations have procedures, protocols. We can't just rush in and arrest a deputy director based on recordings that may or may not be admissible in court. Then don't arrest him, you say. Expose him, put it in the news, force it into the public eye, make it impossible for him to hide. That's not how we operate, Keller says. Then you're going to lose him, you reply. Because Cole doesn't care about procedures, he cares about survival, and he's very good at it. The room falls silent. The tension is palpable. Then Diaz speaks. With respect, Agent Keller, we didn't come here to ask permission. We came here to request protection while we tell our story. If you won't help, we'll do it ourselves. He pulls out a phone, opens a live streaming app, starts setting up. What are you doing? Keller asks. Going public, Diaz says. Right now, live. We'll broadcast everything. The recordings, the evidence, the whole story. You can either be part of the solution or you can try to stop us. Your choice. Keller stands. This is a federal facility. I can't allow you to broadcast classified information. It's not classified if it's evidence of a crime, Bishop says, and we're prepared to argue that in court if necessary. But right now, we're doing this. You can help or you can watch. But you can't stop us. The standoff holds. Keller looking at Bishop, Bishop looking back, neither willing to back down. Then Keller makes a decision. She sits back down. Fine, she says, but it's on the record that I advised against this, and when the shitstorm hits, and it will hit, you're all going to be in the center of it. Understood, Bishop says. Diaz starts the broadcast, live feed, multiple platforms. Within seconds, the view count starts climbing. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. Chen positions cameras. Ross monitors the feed. Bishop begins speaking. Clear, calm, authoritative. He tells the story. All of it. Cole's corruption, the illegal operations, the plan to eliminate witnesses. The evidence. Everything. And the world watches. You watch too. Watch the view count climb. Watch the comments flood in. Watch the story spread like wildfire across the internet. Unstoppable. Irreversible. Cole can't contain this. No one can. It's too big, too public, too real. Within an hour, major news networks are picking it up. Running breaking news alerts. Bringing in analysts. Demanding statements from the CIA. Within 2 hours, the director of the CIA holds a press conference, announces an internal investigation, places Cole on administrative leave, promises a full accounting. Within 3 hours, federal marshals arrive at Cole's office to escort him out. He's not arrested, not yet, but he's done, finished, his career destroyed, his freedom hanging by a thread. You watch it all happen from the conference room, the dominoes falling, the system working the way it's supposed to when it can't avoid the truth. Bishop sits next to you, exhausted, relieved, alive. "We did it," he says. "You did it," you reply. "This was your investigation, your evidence, your courage." Bishop shakes his head. "No, this was you. Coming back for me, refusing to give up, finding another way when the obvious path was closed. That's what made the difference. You don't know what to say to that, so you say nothing. Just sit in the silence and feel the weight of what you've accomplished, what you've survived." Agent Keller approaches. Her expression has softened somewhat. "Staff Sergeant Sullivan," she says, "I need to inform you that there's going to be an investigation into your conduct during the operation. Standard procedure. But based on what I've heard today, I don't anticipate any charges. In fact, I anticipate commendations." You nod. "Thank you. There's something else," Keller continues. "A message came through while you were broadcasting. From a General Claire Madigan. She wants to speak with you, says it's urgent. The name is unfamiliar, but the rank isn't. Generals don't reach out without reason." "Put her through," you say. Keller sets up a video call. The screen flickers. Then a woman appears. Late 50s, steel grey hair, eyes that have seen combat and politics and everything in between. "Staff Sergeant Sullivan," she says. "I'm General Madigan, Deputy Commander, Special Operations. I've been watching your broadcast. Impressive work. Thank you, ma'am. I'm calling because I have a proposition for you. We're forming a new unit. Specialized operations focusing on domestic threats and corruption within the intelligence community. We need people who can think creatively, who can operate in grey areas, who have integrity even when it costs them everything." She pauses, lets that sink in. "I'm offering you a position, full reinstatement of rank, clean record, and a mission that matters. Are you interested?" You look at Bishop, at Chen, at Ross and Diaz, at the people who risked everything to stand with you. Then you look at where Tom used to be, the empty space where your ghost lived for 3 years, the space that's finally clear. You think about the cabin in Wyoming, about 9 months of broken shots, about the life you had and the life you lost and the life you're being offered now. And you realize something. You're not the same person who walked into that inquiry 9 months ago. You're not the same shooter who froze in Pakistan. You're not the same soldier who killed a boy in Syria. You're something new, something that knows when to take the shot and when to find another way, something that's been broken and put back together stronger for the breaking. "Yes, ma'am," you say. "I'm interested." Madigan smiles. "Good. Report to Fort Bragg in 72 hours. We'll discuss the details then." And Sullivan, welcome back. The screen goes dark. You sit back, feel the exhaustion settling into your bones, but also something else, something you haven't felt in a long time. Hope. The next 72 hours pass in a blur. Debriefings, interviews, medical examinations, the machinery of government processing what happened and deciding what comes next. Cole is arrested on the 3rd day, charged with embezzlement, conspiracy, and a dozen other crimes. His trial will take years, but the outcome is certain. He's done. Bishop's investigation is vindicated, his reputation restored. He retires quietly. Goes back to his family. You exchange emails occasionally, short, professional, but warmer than they used to be. Chen, Ross, and Diaz return to their units, commendations in their files, promotions pending. You stay in touch, the kind of bond that forms when people survive the impossible together. And you return to the cabin one last time, to pack, to close that chapter, to say goodbye to the person you were. On your final morning there, before the sun rises, you walk out to the range one last time. The air is cold and sharp. Your breath makes clouds in the November dawn. You set up the rifle on the shooting bench, the Remington 700, your old companion, the one that's been with you through everything. You load the magazine, chamber around, set up the human silhouette target at 300 yards, the same target you couldn't hit for 9 months. the same target that represented everything broken inside you. You settle into position, cheek to stock, eye to scope, breathing steady. Your hands don't shake. You put the crosshair's center mass, feel the familiar weight of the rifle, the texture of the stock against your cheek, the cool metal of the trigger under your finger. Tom's voice comes one last time. Not a hallucination now, just a memory, clear and clean and free of haunting. You know what you have to do. You've always known. The shot isn't about hitting the target, it's about trusting yourself enough to try. You breathe, you aim, you fire. The round hits exactly where you aimed it. Perfect center mass. You work the bolt, fire again, center mass, again, center mass, again, center mass. You empty the magazine, 10 rounds, 10 perfect shots, everyone exactly where it needed to be. When the rifle clicks empty, you set it down. Walk to the target, look at the grouping. Tight, professional, the grouping of someone who never forgot how to shoot, who only forgot how to forgive herself. You touch the paper, feel the holes your rounds made, the evidence that you're whole again, that you can do this, that the breaking wasn't permanent. Tom's voice whispers one final time, a benediction, a release. You took the shot, and then he's truly gone, not fading, not haunting, just gone. The weight you've carried for 3 years lifts completely. The boy in Syria will always be there. The memory of Tom's last words will always echo. But the crushing guilt, the paralysis, the fear that you were fundamentally broken beyond repair, that's gone. You walk back to the cabin, pack the rifle carefully, load it in your truck with everything else. You take one last look at the place, at the cabin where you came to hide, to heal, to fail, and try again. It served its purpose, but you don't need it anymore. The sun is rising over the Medicine Bow Range, pink and orange spreading across the peaks like a promise. You climb into your truck, start the engine, pull onto the dirt road. Before you reach the highway, you make one more stop. Pull out your phone, dial Bishop's number. He answers on the second ring. "General," you say. "It's Sullivan." "Staff Sergeant." His voice is warm, genuine. "I was hoping you'd call before you left. I wanted to thank you," you say, "for testifying, for clearing my record, for telling the truth." There's a pause. Then Bishop speaks, and you can hear the weight in his words. "Sullivan, I spent 9 months living with what I did to you, watching you get torn apart, knowing I could stop it with one word and choosing not to. That's not something I can ever truly make right. But I want you to know something. You listen. What you did in Utah, the choices you made, the way you found solutions that didn't require you to become something you're not. That's leadership. That's courage. And when I testified at your hearing, when I told them the truth about Pakistan, it wasn't charity, it was justice. You deserved better than what I gave you, and I'm grateful I got the chance to correct it, even if it took too long." His voice catches slightly. "You're going to do great things with General Madigan's unit, and when you do, when you prove to everyone what I already know, remember something. The shot that matters isn't always the one through a scope. Sometimes it's the choice to trust yourself again, to believe you're still the soldier you always were. Thank you, sir," you say. "It's all you can manage. Good luck, Staff Sergeant Sullivan." Make them remember why they trained you in the first place. The line goes quiet. You sit there for a moment. In your truck, on the dirt road, between the life you had and the life you're driving toward. Then you put the truck in gear and head east. Toward Fort Bragg, toward General Madigan and the new mission, toward whatever comes next. The road is long, empty, stretching across Wyoming and beyond. But you're not afraid of long roads anymore. You're not afraid of empty spaces or hard choices or the weight of the past. Because somewhere between that ridge in Utah and this moment, you learned something. You learned that being broken doesn't mean being useless, that healing doesn't mean forgetting, that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward anyway. You learned how to take the shot that matters. 60 miles down the highway, your phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. You pull over to read it. It's from Madigan. "Sullivan, thought you should know. Your first assignment briefing is uploaded to the secure server. Password is take the shot. Welcome to Tier 0. We've been waiting for someone like you. You smile, type back a single word, ready. You put the phone down, look out at the road ahead. The sun is fully up now. The sky is clear. The mountains in your rearview mirror are getting smaller. And for the first time in 3 years, your hands are completely steady. You drive east, toward the future, toward the mission, toward everything you thought you'd lost and are finally getting back. The shot that broke you is behind you now. The shot that saves you lies ahead.